agree and implement in the coming times. So with these words, I again welcome everyone. I can see Tanushri again at our panel, and we are very happy to have you. I can see Natasha, I can see Brigeshji on the panel, and Gurpreet, of course, on the panel. Rest of the members are also, some of them have joined and some will be joining in a short while. So again, welcome to our discussion today. So as far as I was thinking what to say, as we are all aware citizens and we know that what pollution holds for all of us in the coming times. So while I was thinking, I came across two things today. One was a study that was just published yesterday in Times of India, and it links air pollution to levels that it says, the title says, the rising air pollution levels, they are linked to 6 million preterm and underweight births. So this is something very worrisome and very scary. Similarly, the second news that pertained to air pollution was that it was in Gurugram, this news, and mentioned in HT. So it says Gurugram administration issues guidelines to combat air pollution this winter. So I found this very, very informative, and I wanted to share some clippings from this news that the administration has come forward in Gurugram, and they are going to make an action plan for 15 days in which they are going to target. They have made nodal officers who are going to be very, very vigilant on the issue of air pollution, and they are going to enforce this action plan in the coming 15 days. So this action plan has been mentioned as that there will be compliance to the norms that have been given by the government, the industrial stacks and garbage dumping, as well as the use of illegal fuels. They are going to target this, the dust emission, and they are going to target the air pollution, and they are going to take measures, strict measures to control these, and they are going to have night patrolling also. And these officers are going to work in different areas of Gurugram and going to take this action. So I found this very, very interesting. And I thought that why not in today's discussion, we should take this forward. And we should do something like we can make a pointer, or we can, make an agenda in which we can just decide about or pinpoint 5 major targets that we are going to keep this coming month, so that we can work on these targets, make people aware of these targets in the form of bullet points or whatever we all decide, so that we are able to, work on these bullet points and try to implement, try to rope in the organizations who are responsible, work as citizens for the betterment of levels of air pollution, and work collectively on these, let's say, pinpointed 5-point agenda. So even if the organizations, I feel, take 2-3 points from this and they start taking action on that, and the citizens are also, helping us in collaborating the movement. So I think we are good to go. We are successful in implementing the action agenda for targeting air pollution in Ludhiana. So this is my submission, and this is something I thought that can give us the idea of today's discussion and how we should carry it forward, so that by the end of it, we are able to jot down certain things. We can have, maybe 10 points, but we can start prioritizing them and target 2-3 at a time each month, so that by the end of this year, we are able to say that Clean Air Collective or this hub has, initiated these points, and they have started working on them and tried to implement that. So with these lines and with this thought in mind, I thought we should start developing some inputs, and we should, sharing it over here with all the esteemed members who are there with us today. And let's just start with the action now. So it's high time. We have made the problem very clear, and we have, tried to push the administration also that there is something like Clean Air Collective who is working on the issue of air pollution. And we are there for the citizens, and we want to make our Ludhiana, our Punjab clean and pollution free. So with these words, I'll request Brigeshji to follow it up with further inputs. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Supreet ji. The next item on the agenda is introductions. But before I invite all of you to introduce yourself, I just thought I'll set the context by talking a little bit about the Punjab Clean Air Collective and especially the City Action Hub. So the Punjab Collective was formed, I think, 6-7 months ago based on the collective impact framework, where we have representatives and diverse set of stakeholders from all the non-attainment cities across Punjab. The objective is to bring all the stakeholders together working with a common goal, which is cleaner air faster for all of us. As a next step now, we had one meeting, I think a month ago or a month and a half ago, where in Ludhiana, where we discussed what the Ludhiana's Clean Air Action Plan is all about. And at the end of that meeting, we had formed the City Clean Air Action Hub. Now, the objective of this hub is, I mean, in that meeting, there were a lot of people, and I think we've had some filtrations. And now, today's meeting, we have around 21 people. The objective is, see, the biggest stakeholders for a city's clean air action plan are the citizens, because they are the ones who will be breathing that air. And it's important that all of us have a role to play in holding our authorities accountable when it comes to the promises that they've made. So we did learn in the last meeting, Tanushree was also there, about what pollutes Ludhiana's air and what are the sectors that are polluting. We did also do a little bit of a deep dive on what were the key components of the plan, right? Now, what we will plan to do today is, after the round of introductions, when I invite Tanushree to speak, is she will share with us the key interventions that we can look as targets, campaigning targets for the next few months. And all of us on the call can try and do some brainstorm on, let's say, if one of those interventions is X number of monitors have been promised for Ludhiana, but that has not been done. What can all of us do as citizens, activists, civil society organizations to try and put some positive pressure on the authorities to get those monitors installed? Those ideas could be going and having meetings with the urban local bodies, or doing some engagement in resident welfare associations, or doing some activities in the parks to highlight the impact, which eventually leads to Ludhiana getting more monitors that have been promised. Or if there is a promise on road dust, for example, and that promise has not been met, what can we do to make sure the urban local bodies in Ludhiana meet that promise? So that's broadly the idea. All of us are key stakeholders in the city of Ludhiana as far as clean air is concerned. Our objective as ASAR, as a backbone support, and EcoSikh is to enable your agency to fill the skill gap, to fill the knowledge gap, and to provide some tools and tactics wherever necessary, so that if you want to do a little bit more than just attending meetings, you want to take up a particular task and collaborate with 2-3 other organizations, you can you can do that very easily in your own capacity. One doesn't have to push the envelope very far. If you are a senior citizen and you would want to bring 10 other senior citizens together and make some contribution, that's extremely valuable as well. So with that idea, let's do a quick round of introductions. What I would like you to talk is your name and the organization that you represent, if you represent an organization. If not, even if you're a citizen, that's fine. And after that round of introductions, we will invite Tanushree to share some insights on the interventions of Clean Air Action Plan. So I'm happy to start, and then I will pass it on to someone. So that's the rule that we'll follow, so that we don't waste a few seconds, everyone wondering abhi kiska number hai. My name is Brikesh. I am with Asar. I've been working with Asar for about 5 years, and I've been in the environment space for almost 20 years. I worked with Greenpeace for 15 years. I handle the air pollution program for Asar, and we work in 3 states across in India, in Maharashtra, Punjab, and Jharkhand. So I will pass on to my colleague Natasha.
Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Natasha. I work with Asar, with Prikesh and Sanam. I actually project manage the work that happens in the 3 states on air pollution. I will pass it on to Meenu.
Hi everyone, I am Meenu. I reside in Delhi. I am a teacher. I'm not in school, but I run my own institution. So I joined this couple of years back through the Facebook because I was interested in our country to get a country or state to get polluted free. So I joined Ravneet sir. I called him. I had few words with him. So I visited Delhi, also Tilak Nagar, where they have completed their project 2 years back. So this is my first meeting, and I would prefer that I should hear from everyone, and that's from my side. Whatever the need from my side is there, I will definitely fulfill that to my extent. Thank you.
Okay, on behalf of Meenuji, I'll pass it on to Anju. Anju, you have to unmute yourself, please. Anju, can you hear us? If you can, your mic is muted.
Till then, I'll introduce
Natasha,
myself.
Okay, Gurpreet, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Gurpreet. I'm working with EcoSikh and currently leading this campaign of Clean Air Punjab. I'm working with Asar. And so currently we are doing all these meetings, Zoom meetings, just to for this advocacy role. And hello from my side, and thank you all for joining in as per request. Thanks.
I can go next. My name is Simran. I'm 25 years old. I reside in Khanna. I work with a private organization in the EdTech space, I Know Me Learning in Gurgaon. And I'm just here to understand my role as an active citizen in demanding clean air in Punjab. Sorry, I pass it on to Jaskirat Singh ji.
hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I am Jaskirat Singh and I live in Ludhiana, and I've been working on some issues for some time. And we work on Matewada forest, by the way, that helps hopefully, with the clean air in Ludhiana. We are trying to protect that. So that's my intro.
And you would pass it on to?
Oh, all right. So I joined late. Maybe I don't know who else is left. I just joined in.
Okay, I'll do it on your behalf. Tanushri.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Tanushri Ganguly. I manage the air quality program at a New Delhi-based not-for-profit research institution called the Council on Energy, Environment and Water. So I know we are supposed to keep this brief, but I'll just say that while I may be a resident of Delhi now, but I have a very close connection with Punjab. I spent 3 years of my life in Punjab, some glorious time in Punjab. So happy to be a part of this hub and help you guys in whatever way possible. And I will pass it on to Srish, my colleague from CEDA.
Hey, good morning, everyone. As Tanushree said, I also work at EW. I'm a consultant there, and I'm currently working on crop residue burning in Punjab. Like to pass it to Meenu. He's not on.
Meenu is done, I think, Shrees. So maybe Paramjeet ji.
Hello, good morning. Sat Shri Akal to all. I am Paramjeet Singh from Ludhiana, Punjab. I am here new, but I am observing and learning more. Thank you.
Induji, why don't you go next? You are on mute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. And I'm so pleased and like honored to join this Clean Air Ludhiana initiative. And I'm from Amritsar. Basically, I'm a Rotarian also, past president, past secretary, and I'm a vice president of Voice of Amritsar, working for a cleaner, better, and healthier Amritsar. So, and I've got a lot of things on my mind, air pollution, water pollution, potable water is required, a lot of issues. And I think we have to pressurize the government, the administration. The Punjab government has to take notice of us because, we are the people who are suffering. And I think this is a wonderful initiative by Ludhiana. And I'm also a member of EcoSikh. I'm here because of Ravneet Singh. And I'm happy to join you all. And let's all work for a healthy, prosperous, and good Punjab, because we've been really not been giving our due, which was required. For the past, I think, almost 15 years, we've been suffering a lot of problems, which are not in the, like in the agenda of the government. So I think this people's participation is a must. Citizens must work for, on part of this thing, kind of taking this forward. So thank you so much. And I'm into this for almost 2011. I've been in the Voice of Amritsar organization and working for a cleaner, better, and comfortable Amritsar. So I'd like to join Ludhiana also. So I think we can all work together for Punjab, basically. Not just Ludhiana or Amritsar or Jalandhar, but total Punjab. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Induji. I would now like to invite Anmol Preet ji. Would you like to go next? You can unmute yourself. Anmol Preet Kaur. Okay, Prabh Kirat, why don't you go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Rapirat. I just completed my school this year and now I'm aspiring to join Delhi University. So yes, that's it. And I would pass it on to Nandini, who her birthday is today. So yeah, everyone please wish her a happy birthday. Nandini?
Yeah, so good morning everyone. I am Nandini, a graduate student from Sri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management. And I'm here, this is my first meeting with EcoSikh. So I'm here to educate myself and learn how can I contribute improving the air quality index of Punjab. Thank you. And now I pass it on to Meenu ma'am, if possible.
Amandeep?
I have already done.
Okay, then Mr. Gagnesh Khurana can go next.
Good morning, everybody. I introduce myself. I'm an industrialist, by the way, which is just opposite to the environmentalist. But I have done my post-graduation in environment law. I've been introduced to this platform by Jaskirat. I'll just tell you what I am doing right now. In Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plan, I have filed more than 5 RTIs with all various departments because I have done my RTI diploma with the gold medal. And right now I'm working on the 4 continuous ambient air quality monitoring stations, which was being promised in Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plans, but never installed. And they're late due to some reasons, and which is already been installed in PAU. it is at default. It is not working properly, and the readings are not, we are not getting the actual readings of Ludhiana, because the limit of that station is only 4 kilometers. And Ludhiana is widespread, and the real pollution is outside that 4 kilometers. It is very long introduction, by the way. And moreover, one thing I just want to add, because maybe I not get time later on, this Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plan, there's mandatory to hold one air meeting every month according to that plan, which is not being taken due to several excuses that COVID and so and so, and such officers are not available. And the best word I heard from Prikesh is accountability. We should start making this officer accountable to get that Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plan in actual. Thank you very much. I am done.
Who are left can just raise a hand or just unmute themselves turn by turn.
Sanam, why don't you go next?
Amandeep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Amandeep, go ahead.
Hello, this is Amandeep. I'm resident of Ludhiana. I'm 35 years old. I came to know about this act through Good With God, which is working, I think, in EcoSikh. And on my behalf, I would like to serve my society and love to do what I can do for my locality at least. And that's it. It's my first meeting and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Anchal?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Anchal Sava and am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. I'm living in Pathankot right now, and this is also my first meeting, and I recently did my post-graduation in human rights. And as you all know that right to clean, safe, healthy air is our basic human right. And with human right, there comes a human duty also. So it becomes imperative that that we have a duty towards our future generation also, that we enjoy, we get benefits of safe and clean environment, as well as for our future generation also. And I'm here to learn and observe. This is my first meeting. Thank you so much for welcoming.
Thank you, Anchal ji. Manjula Sularia.
Yeah, very good morning to all of you. Manjula this side, and I'm from Chandigarh, and I run an NGO with the name of Change Fund. The last, I think, 3 years, where we've been into plantation of these Guru Nanak sacred forests around Chandigarh and some interiors of Punjab as well. And it's indeed a privilege, moment to be part of this Clean Air India, Clean Air Punjab mission. So would like to contribute best in my capacity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who all is left? I think we'll have to rush through the introductions. So just name and city you are based in.
Hi, my name is Sanam. I work with Brikesh. I'm sorry I missed a lot of it because I'm still in search of internet. So yeah, I'll be here. I mean, I work with Gurpreet and all, so I'll be here throughout the meeting, but I have a cracked internet.
All right. Yes, ma'am, there was someone whose hand was up. Please go ahead.
Ritu ma'am.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ritu Malhan. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm Ritu Malhan. I'm a school teacher, but I have keen interest in environment, and I have joined this Clean Air Action Plan with a sole motive that clean air is my right and I have to get it by any way around, whatever I may have to do, because this is my right. My children, me, my Ludhianvis, they should breathe in clean air at any cost, whatever may be.
Thank you, ma'am. Anju ji.
Yes, hello everyone. This is Anju Chabra from Ludhiana, and I work with EcoSikh. And basically, I'm a housemaker, and I help my family with business. The thing is, I am working with EcoSikh, so we are going for green Punjab, and we have planted a lot of forests, you know. And at home, what basically we can do at home, I practice waste management. I separate the green waste and plastic waste separately, and I make my own I plant vegetables at home, and this is the basic thing what everyone can do, and to begin with, and rest, you all experts are here to guide us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjuji. Just in the interest of time, I would like to request whoever is left just to type in the chat window like Anmol Preet has done. And before I invite Tanushri, I think Gurpreet, if you can, do you know who fireflies.ai note taker is?
Even I'm not able to get, I'll just message.
If not, then we'll have to, Natasha, please remove from the call, because
And is Manjula ji done? Has Manjula ji?
Yeah. I think Manjula ji is done. Yeah.
I'll just check.
Yeah. Tanushri, over to you.
Right, excellent. So, I'm extremely glad that this is such an eclectic mix today. We have educators, we have industrialists, we have students, we have activists. So this is exceptional. So thank you, Team Asar and EcoSikh, for putting together such an eclectic mix of people today. So, I mean, I've presented before this crowd about Ludhiana's clean air plan. So I decided to switch it up slightly this time around. What I can do is I can give a synopsis of the plan, and then just move into some of the components which I think will be beneficial for this group, given that the idea is to engage more on the action plan. So that's how I plan to go with it. And also a disclaimer, I'm a Delhi resident. I know my city well, and you're all from cities of Punjab. So I'm sure that you know your surroundings very well. And when it comes to air pollution and addressing local sources, that is the best knowledge one can have. So as much as, you know, there could be academic assessments of what's polluting a city's air, at the end of the day, we as citizens know what's really polluting and what are the visible sources of pollution around us. So with that in mind, I will move to my presentation. I'll quickly share my screen. All right, can you all see my screen? Just give me 1 second.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
It's black right now. It's just getting loaded. All right, I'm going to gloss through all of this because we've covered this earlier. I'm directly going to move to Punjab, all right? I think that my internet is a little slow today, so pardon me if there are any technical difficulties. So first and foremost, I think Brikesh has already touched upon this. Today in India, there are about 124 non-attainment cities. Now, what are non-attainment cities? So India has laid down certain ambient air quality standards called the National Ambient Air Quality Standards for multiple pollutants, including PM 2.5, which is the ultrafine particulate and has direct impact on health, PM 10, which is coarse particulate, NOx, which is nitrogen oxides, which is emitted from your vehicles and power plants, SOx, which is primarily emitted from coal combustion, and carbon monoxide. So there are standards for these. And these are actually measured. So your pollution control board, we've heard about, you know, pollution control boards being an active part of this air pollution management across cities in India. So the air pollution control boards are by law required to measure these pollutants. Now, cities which were found to exceed the standards for these pollutants were identified as non-attainment cities. So of all the non-attainment cities in India, like I said, there are 124, 9 are in Punjab, and Ludhiana is one of these 9 non-attainment cities. I'll skip this slide, but this, what it basically talks about is, you know, this just visualizes how Ludhiana's pollution levels stand compared to the National Ambient Air Quality Standards. In terms of sources, just a quick glimpse, I think the biggest feature that we need to understand here is that a lot of pollution in Ludhiana is actually coming from outside. This is important because I will touch upon this later when we talk about some of the things that we can follow upon with the government. So just remember, that a city can be polluted by sources within its boundary. This could be different kinds of things. This could be vehicles within the city. This could be road dust within the city. This could be garbage burning within the city. And then it could also be polluted by activities which are happening outside. Let's say, you know, an industry which is outside, or a power plant which is outside, or if there is any kind of burning which is happening outside. So there are multiple sources which can affect a city. Academic estimates suggest that this is how the sources are split across the city of Ludhiana. In terms of the plan, and I will again come to this later when I actually show you what the plan looks like. So most of the actions are actually catered towards vehicular pollution, you know, whether it's, you know, increasing awareness about polluting vehicles and why you need to get the PUC certificates, whether it's about remote measurement of emissions coming from vehicles. So there is a lot of stress on vehicles, particularly on the plan, which is followed, of course, by road dust, that, you know, mechanical sweeping is required. And the vector that you see right there is that of a mechanical sweeper. Then comes, of course, industries. Then there is focus on garbage burning. And finally, there is focus on, you know, public awareness and dissemination of the AQI. So this is just, what I'll do is I'll just share the presentation with Team Asar and EcoSikh. You can all look at this, but this is just semantics in terms of what the plan consists of. And I've already touched upon this while I was talking about the different vectors. But the important thing is this. Now, this is something which is crucial for us to understand. If we want to follow up and hold agencies accountable, what we really need to understand is that which are these agencies. But given that, you know, the air that we breathe is affected by, you know, multiple sources, there are also multiple agencies which are responsible for managing it. Not directly, but their activities can contribute to polluting or improving the air. So the Punjab Pollution Control Board, most certainly, because, you know, it is responsible for monitoring air quality. It is responsible for ensuring that industries meet their standards. It is also responsible for disseminating your AQI, because the Punjab Pollution Control Board has access to the real-time monitoring stations data. Then, of course, agriculture. We all know that crop residue burning is a seasonal contributor to pollution in Punjab. So the agriculture department needs to ensure that farmers have both information as well as access to solutions which are available. Then, of course, municipal corporation, whether it's garbage burning, road dust related issues, all of those fall under the purview of the municipal corporation. Transport department, all the vehicle related issues. Similarly, traffic police, ensuring that, you know, the traffic is not behaving in an unruly manner. Department of Food and Civil Supplies. This speaks to. Yes, was someone? Did someone intervene?
No.
All right, so
go ahead, Tanushree.
I'll move forward. So the Department of Food and Civil Supplies speaks to whether all the households have access to clean fuel or not. As we know, domestic emissions is a significant contributor to pollution across India. So whether households have access to clean fuel or not. GLADA, Greater Ludhiana Area Development Authority, what kind of zoning is in place, you know, whether the rules which are rules for managing construction, demolition, they are being taken care or not. Again, NHAI, because, you know, roadways are being built, diversions are being built. So NHAI is also responsible for maintaining that when these are being built, there is no localized increase in pollution levels. Department of Industries, Public Works Department. So all of them, this is just to give you a snapshot of the different kinds of agencies which are relevant stakeholders when it comes to you know, implementing Ludhiana's clean air plan. The other important thing that you should see here is that approximately 45% of all activities are actually under the realm of the urban local bodies. When I say urban local bodies, I mean the municipal corporation, GLADA. So if we are looking at local sources, by default, a significant ownership of activities comes down to urban local bodies. So if as a consortium, we are going to engage with public agencies, I think two of the agencies that we should very strongly try to work with is the Punjab Pollution Control Board, because that by default has access to information and data. We should engage with the urban local bodies, because I heard someone say that they manage waste at their homes. So the idea is to get people to segregate through and through. So there should be 100% source segregation at household levels. So how do we collaborate, or how do we work with urban local bodies to make that happen? That is the question. So when it comes to two primary stakeholders that we should engage with, it should potentially be the Punjab Pollution Control Board as well as the urban local bodies. Now, I also thought it'll be useful to highlight some of the good things about the plan, and I will run you through the plan, through and through, so that you guys can understand how to read the plan, because I think that's important as well. So it lists interim milestones, targets, and we've actually analyzed over 100 plans for one of our studies. And these are the elements in Ludhiana's plans which are not really in the other plans, which is great. But the problem still is about implementation on ground, and that is something we, as Ludhiana Citizen Action Hub, can actually closely monitor. And there is actually a provision in the plan where they say that enforcement monitoring can be done at the citizen level. So we as citizens can actually monitor whether the Punjab Pollution Control Board is doing what it has committed to doing in the plan. These are some of the things which I think are missing in the plan, but should certainly be addressed. And these are also some of the campaign ideas. And I will add to that as well as we sort of move along in the presentation. So one is regional coordination. This is important because we know a lot of pollution is coming from outside, but we need to question PPCB as to what is the plan to ensure that interventions are not just happening at the city level. What are the interventions for the rural, peri-urban areas which do potentially have an impact on Ludhiana's air quality? And this is something which the Punjab Pollution Control Board should be responsible for, because its jurisdiction applies to the entire state and not just to the city. The second point is about air quality monitoring. Again, this is something which is mentioned in the action plan. So there is one real-time monitoring station in the city. The plan says that 3 need to be set up by 2020, but that has not happened. The website also has a tender out there, but still, I mean, I think gentleman who is an industrialist, sorry, I'm forgetting the name, but has also filed RDI, has mentioned that these monitors are actually operating in PAU, but the data is not publicly available. So maybe it will be interesting to hear about that as well. But complete transparency when it comes to air quality data is very crucial, because if pollution levels are high, then citizens by default should know that whether they should venture out or not. For instance, let's say when we were reeling under this really bad second wave of COVID, we had access to information on the number of cases which are coming up every day. We had access to information around which are the containment zones in the city. We should ensure that even for air quality, which has a significant health burden across Indian cities, we have access to that kind of information. And finally, increased focus on local sources. Now, this is very important. Now, when we talk about larger policy, we gloss over the sources which are episodic in nature. Like, if there is a dump yard, what if it keeps catching fire? Or people who routinely burn waste outside their homes? Or what if a small stretch of the road which is now completely in shambles and it's emitting dust? So these are those local sources which can significantly contribute to pollution, and we need to leverage technology to address this. And along with technology, we also need to get in citizen support. And I will show you a very easy way to actually contribute to this cause. I mean, of course, it's not in the presentation, but I will show you the link to where you can actually go and sort of indicate your support to finding some of these sources within a city. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a couple of resources in the chat box. It'll be nice if we can actually go through these together, so that you will also have a sense of what these things look like. So the first resource that I'm going to drop in the chat box is the Ludhiana City Action Plan. Okay, so let me know. I mean, I'm happy to share my screen as well, but this is just to give you sort of, I mean, I'd urge you all to actually open it on your desktops or cell phones so that you have a feel for what the plan looks like, because this is important. This is where you will find what exactly it is that the government is actually committed to. And what I'll do is I'll also open it up so that I can show you. So can all of you see my screen again? Okay, excellent. So this is what the plan looks like, okay? And since there was conversation around stakeholders, so if you go to the table of contents of the plan, you will see that very clearly the different stakeholders have been listed in the plan. So I'm just going to quickly run down to that very section there, so see, there is Punjab Pollution Control Board and the necessary activities which PPCB is supposed to take. This is page 15 of the document. So it clearly lays down the different stakeholders as well as their responsibilities. So that way the plan provides details in this. And this is something which I think people who want to actively engage on Ludhiana's action plan should be privy to, so that you have a holistic understanding of who is doing what when it comes to implementing the clean air plan. The second thing, which I also wanted to highlight, speaks to how Supreet opened the discussion today. Supreet opened the discussion referring to Gurugram's winter action plan. If you look at this document, there is something called the graded response action plan for Ludhiana, which is very similar to the emergency response plan. So what it says that, if your AQI value, it goes above 400, then the different agencies listed here are responsible for taking these actions. So when it comes to brick-kilns, now brick-kilns are a hugely contribute to regional pollution to Ludhiana. So brick-kilns need to be shut down, construction activity, alerting in newspapers so that people know how high the levels are. So all of this is actually a part of the plan. So when we seek accountability, it's important for us to know that, there is already a graded response action in place. So this coming winter, it'll be useful for us to see whether the graded response action plan is being implemented or not. So this is about the Ludhiana action plan as well as the graded response action plan. The second very interesting resource, which I'm going to put in the chat box, is the PGRS system, okay? And this is something which I will request you all to bookmark, because this is potentially one of the easiest ways to get your voices heard. The PGRS, which is the Public Grievance Redressal System, was specifically built under all the cities who were identified as non-attainment cities. They were asked to build a PGRS, right? So what you can do is you can lodge a complaint. So let's say there is an egregious source of pollution in your neighborhood or vicinity, you can go on to the PGRS, lodge a complaint. It will also tell you whether your complaint has been resolved or not resolved. This is a very efficient way of crowdsourcing different kinds of pollution sources in a city. The worst part is people don't know about it, so people don't use it. I will give you an example. There are similar portals in the state of Uttar Pradesh. For cities like Lucknow and Kanpur, over a period of 6 months, 10 to 12 complaints were registered. That's because people don't know that this portal really exists, and this can be used to actually raise our concerns about what's polluting our vicinity. So this is a very interesting tool which can actually be used to flag off these sources in your vicinity. The third thing that I'm going to share with you is also something which can very effectively be used to track pollution levels in your vicinity, and also to see if the various facilities which are polluting your vicinity are transparent about the data or not. Now, this is data from the continuous emission monitoring systems. What are continuous emitting monitoring systems? Basically, all large-scale industries are required to publicly display their information on emissions. Now, as we know, industries also contribute significantly to Ludhiana's air quality. So this portal, if you see, right now, of course, a lot of data is not available, but the data should be available. So if there are large-scale industries in your vicinity, you should be able to see. I will actually share my screen to reflect this so that you can figure out how to play around with this as well. So this is the source pollutant map. My screen's visible, everyone? So if you see, this provides you details on, which of the stations are online, right? Of course, I've selected all 7 cities right now who are providing data. So Amritsar, Bathinda, Ludhiana, Jalandhar, all of them are providing data, and Mandi Gobindgarh has a lot of industries, Ludhiana has industries. So right now, of course, no data is being transmitted, as you can see. So of course, it's listed here that, the date is listed, the pollutant is listed, the facility is listed, but it's not really transmitting data. So infrastructure exists, but often you don't get the data. And sometimes you also get the data, but the data is questionable. So this is just to kind of tell you that what are the different things in place when it comes to managing air pollution, monitoring air pollution, and for citizen engagement. Now, when we want to discuss about ideas that we need to push for in the season, I mean, these are my suggestions, but like I said, you are the residents of the cities in Punjab, right? So you know your city better. But I think what we should really focus on is ramping up air quality monitoring, because the plan says that monitors need to be set up and there are very few real-time monitoring stations. So definitely ramping up air quality. The second point should be transparency about data. I think when it comes to portals like this, emissions from industrial facilities, when the data, when the system exists, why should we not have access to data from the industrial facilities? So transparency on emissions from industrial facilities. Third is, of course, it's very important that we actively use the PGRS. So why don't we urge, and this is of course very ambitious, why don't we urge, let's say the Pollution Control Board and the urban local bodies to have a dashboard where we can see what are the kind of sources that people are flagging off, and why can't we get to see what the government is doing to address it. This will also help us know whether the government is efficient enough to address those issues or not. So those are the three things which I think are a good starting point, because one, you are increasing monitoring, which will then facilitate dissemination of air quality for citizens of Ludhiana. Second, industries emit a lot. Industries not only PM 2.5, they also emit NOx and SOx, which then gets translated into PM 2.5. And these are large sources, okay? So if there is a single point source, it is easier for agencies like Pollution Control Board to regulate it. So for us as citizens, it's also important to understand that, okay, if there are A, B, C, 3 industries in my vicinity, how much are these emitting? So transparency around emissions from these industrial facilities is very important. And third, of course, this interactive sort of dashboard where these complaints which are getting registered, let's say on PGRS, people are actually able to see not just your complaint, but also what your fellow citizens are registering, so that we know what is the distribution of sources in an area, which area is relatively more cleaner than the other area. And this is also a way to contribute to crowdsourcing information on what's polluting your city. So these three things are something which is doable at the citizen level. It will strike a conversation between the citizen and the regulatory authority, and it will also help us sort of review whether what we are contributing is actually getting translated into on-ground action or not. So those are my ideas. I have left the links in the chat box. I will definitely urge you to read through the Clean Air Plan, just to try and assess that this is what the plan says. I know my city in and out, and how can I contribute to either implementing any of those or flagging off if something is not getting implemented. So I will end my presentation with that. I'm going to be around for about 15 to 20 minutes more. I unfortunately have to drop off post that, but I'm happy to take any questions which are there till then. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tanushri. So what I have done is, and Simranji, great question. That's exactly the objective of our next session. You've asked, how can we urge authorities to ramp up monitoring stations to share real-time data with the public? Would an RTI be helpful? Yes, it would be. I think that's what we are doing now is brainstorming ideas. So just a ground rule. What I've done is I have typed the 3 suggestions that Tanushri has given in terms of interventions, which are sort of low-hanging fruits, let's say. So the first one is ramping up air quality monitoring. Second one is transparency on emissions from industrial facilities. And third is an interactive dashboard of complaint redressal mechanism and sectors that are polluting your city. Did I capture that correctly, Tanushri, the third one?
Yeah, so maybe we can just say transparency about our interactive dashboard of complaints registered and resolved, something.
Okay, all right. So let's say, to simplify it, like आपकी city के pollution का report card, right? Complaints अगर हो रही है तो complaints कितनी complaints address हो रही है, कितनी unsolved रह रही है, ठीक है? अब brainstorming का ground rule ये है कि we use this process called yes and no but, which means if Achal gives an idea that let's all wear black masks and stand outside the industry asking them ki, what are you hiding, right? So Satnam ji should not say nahi ye to bekar idea hai. So that's like no but. So all ideas are good idea. In fact, someone should compliment that idea and say that I think that's a good idea. While we stand wearing black masks outside industries, maybe we should also hand out leaflets about what is the percentage of industrial air pollution. So that's just a suggestion. What you can do is we can use both chat window because the time is less, as well as people can raise hands as well. So I will keep bringing people up and keep your ideas really short and crisp on what are the tactics that we can use in the city of Ludhiana to make one or all of the three happen. And if you don't get a chance to speak, it's okay. You can just type your idea in chat as well. And we can, anybody who has an idea can start.
If I may add, Brikesh,
Yeah.
I think there seems to be some interest in understanding. Mr. I am not too sure who has typed it. Paramjeet has said that we should have a session on RTI. Can maybe one of us who have experience in filing them, maybe just quickly sort of say how those work. And there's a very overarching question on capitalism and how that affects pollution. Tanushree, do you want to attempt at either of those?
No, actually, just on the RTI, Natasha, I think I can request my colleague Srish. So Srish is actually, I mean, of course, the future session at length can happen, but if Srish can give like a 2-minute intro, I think that'll be useful because he's been collecting a lot of information through RTIs. And Srish actually is on the field right now in Punjab, just to try and get a sense of what is happening in terms of, access to implements and stuff. So, I mean, of course, a future comprehensive session would be super useful because there's a lot of data one can get through RTI. But if that helps, then, I mean, Srish can give a 2-minute overview now for the benefit of everyone here.
Yeah, sure. So an RTI, you can basically access any form of information from the government. At CEW, we have used the RTI extensively for getting data on crop residue management, particularly the distribution of implements across Punjab, crop residue burning management implements, and also the prevalent types of or varieties of rice in Punjab. So there's basically two ways to get an RTI. You can either file one online, or you can actually file a hard copy and send it to the concerned authority via post. Unfortunately, in Punjab, the online system is not working at the moment, but there's a good way to bypass it. So you can bypass it in two ways. One, most of the air pollution specific plans will have the CPCB as a party to it. So you can always file an RTI to the CPCB and they will give you almost all of the data you need. Another thing that's available with an RTI is that if CPCB does not have the data and cannot furnish the data, they might also transfer the RTI request to the concerned authority within the Punjab government, and you will get a written reply to it. You won't get an online response, but you will get a written reply to it. It's, in my opinion, an RTI is always worth it because you do get data. You can have delays, but you do get data, and you get data for very, very affordable price. It's just 10 rupees, which is, yeah, I think everyone should ideally pay that 10 rupees for data. The offline process is a little more cumbersome. So there is a form available online. You have to download that form. You have to fill the form and ask the questions that you need to ask, and then you need to post it to the concerned department. So the problem with the offline process is that one, it's cumbersome. Two, you need to be very, very sure about who you want to ask a question to. So you might be confused that say maybe agriculture. So you might want to file an RTI with the agriculture department, but they just can say that this is not something that concerns us. This is concerns say the environment ministry or something like that. Another thing to keep in mind while filing an RTI is that there's departments within these ministries, and filing filing an RTI request to a different department might also lead to your request being rejected. So yeah, basically that's an overview. You can get very good data via RTIs, and try and file it through the online process because it saves a lot of time and hassle. The offline process is also available. I don't have much experience with the offline process in Punjab because I usually file it with a central agency that I expect to give me answers, and they usually do. So yeah, that's basically how the RTI works. Of course, we can have a detailed session on this, and I can brief you guys about the offline process as well. But yeah, those are a few things to keep in mind when filing an RTI.
Thanks so much. Brikesh, over to you.
No, I'm now I would like to invite ideas from the group. Actually, if anybody has any ideas, all ideas are good ideas on. We've already started typing some ideas, Tanushri and me. So feel free to raise hand and share your idea, or and the rest can keep typing in the chat window.
Kamish actually has a question. After we do get the data from the authorities, what should be done next?
So just to give an example, Gagnesh ji, I mean, it's not exactly the data from the industry, but what was done by one group in Maharashtra is there's a lot of industrial pollution that happens in the outskirts of Mumbai. So Kharghar and Panvel. So one group had installed small low-cost monitoring devices to measure the air quality data, did the monitoring for about 45 days. Then they released that data through a press release to the local media. There were around 30-35 news to almost every local newspaper and electronic media had covered that. After that, what they did was they installed a lungs billboard. You may have seen that it's a tactic that has been traveling in different parts of the city, where you install it at a polluted place and it changes color based on how polluted your air is. In Delhi, it turned black in 4 days' time. In Mumbai, it took 16 days. In Kharghar, it took 10 days. So all of that adds pressure through media. And what they've got as an outcome is the Pollution Control Board has announced and started installation of 3 continuous air quality monitoring devices in Kharghar and Panvel. So data is a very valuable tool for which, since it's not been there, once we get it, we can actually try do some analysis and release it to the media in the form of a report, like Tanushri said. Jaskirat ji has an idea to share. I think he's raised his hand.
Yeah, hi. So I just want to share what we are doing already. So we have a group, we have started, we have got together, a bunch of NGOs actually have got together in Ludhiana. And some of them are in fact from, not even Ludhiana, but we can say, focused on Ludhiana, but they are from Punjab all over. And we are trying to raise our voice against pollution, and this is both water and air pollution. And we get together every week, we plan an event every week. It's a small event usually, some people get together at some spot and we talk about it. We bring placards, and sometimes media covers it quite well. And this is just to raise awareness, and of course, put pressure on the government to act, because governments are known to, say a lot of stuff, but not, follow through on what they say and what they promise. So we keep trying to raise, what they have said earlier, a few months back, a few years back, and every week we bring a theme, and we put it on a placard, and we try to kind of bring citizens together and NGOs together.
Thank you. Jaskirat ji. Gagnesh ji, you have your hand up, and then I'm putting myself also on the list. And yes, I will encourage everyone also to at least contribute one idea. Otherwise, we will not finish this meeting.
I must tell you one of my findings. May I speak in Hindi for the better understanding?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. जब हम diagnose करते हैं किसी चीज को, it will be English sort of. हमने पेट का एक्सरे करना है या पेट का अल्ट्रासाउंड करना है, and will not be checking at our leg. Will be checking at the right spot. If the air quality monitoring station is located at the wrong place, you can never get the real-time data. First thing. Second thing is that data is being manipulated because what we are getting in our apps and websites, that we are believing, we are sort of believing. But I have strong evidences that data is not being given us to correctly. Third thing, we are using RTI since so long. I have filed more than 500 RTIs, but the thing is that because they have to report to the NGT also. They are not only reporting to the websites, they are reporting to the NGT also. So they are making data. They are making data and wrong data. What we get, if we get the wrong data, we cannot go to the court because Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plan is not having any legal backup, not having anything that you can hold them accountable illegally. It is just we can make hue and cry in the media. Or the other idea, suggestion is that we make a small group like thing and give a representation to the Deputy Commissioner, which is right now the chairman of the Ludhiana Clean Air Action Plan, to give our findings that where does this stand, where this is going. Thanks you.
Thank you. I just have one idea to contribute. So I saw a couple of youngsters as well who are in school and college, and I realized waste is one of the intervention points as well. So what you can do is, you can call this idea waste dinosaur or waste round. Just one school or a college campus, if all the students get involved, just to highlight that how much dry waste is, waste is generated from households. And if we actually do segregation at source, so people, all the kids can bring the dry waste that is generated in the home. They can keep the wet waste aside and compost it. And after a month, the entire dry waste can be using some artist's help, put together in some visual symbolic form. It can be made into a Ravan, it can be made into a dinosaur. It could be a ton, it could be 2 tons, I don't know. But it just basically highlights the fact that there is so much waste that is being generated. And if we segregate it, we'll be able to avoid landfills and waste-related pollution.
Can I come in next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just your idea kind of inspired me, Brikesh. So I think if we have people from different parts of the city, we can launch like an internal competition of which area is cleaner, which is not cleaner. So this not only sort of puts, let's say, exerts a pressure on your MLA or your local councillor, but it also kind of brings the onus back to the community. So I think that will be really useful to conceptualize something like that. And we can actually also tie up with some low-cost sensor manufacturing company or whatever, and distribute these sensors around the city. And then we have people sort of take actions which they can, whether it's ensuring that the waste is not getting burnt, or even reprimanding your neighbor for doing so. And then sort of bringing this competition. So it's a very citizen-led initiative of how the different wards in a city are kind of performing. And this could then be used to also engage with your local councillor to say that we as citizens are doing this, and now it's time for you to sort of do what is needed. So that could be something. It'll be interesting. We as Indians are very competitive people, so I'm sure that everyone will do their best in ensuring that the ward gets cleaned up. So we can think of something like that as well.
Supreet ji, thanks, Tanushri.
Yes, I just wanted to add to this that we are talking about addressing to DC, addressing to Punjab Pollution Control Board. That is, of course, necessary on organization point of view. But as citizens, I always feel, and I strongly believe, that these small steps like Tanushree is mentioning or Bhageshji is mentioning at a local level or at, let's say, a certain area level. We have so many areas in Ludhiana. We are divided into zones, and each zone is having its own nagar, like BRS Nagar. There are different blocks in that. So even if we, start from one block of any small area in Ludhiana, and we take measures just in that, let's suppose, like Tanushree was mentioning, that vehicular pollution is one of the top parts of the whole pollution that is there in Ludhiana. So if all the vehicles in that locality or that house, let's say 15 to 20 houses, is within limits, they regularly monitor their vehicles and they maintain good level of the required level of emissions in that. So that should be highlighted in a positive manner, and they can do waste segregation as we have just discussed. So let's just decide on this, that we'll take the lead and we'll make it sure that this locality of people or the people residing in this area have a foolproof, pollution-free environment of their locality, and they are eco-friendly citizens and they are working on these things. So just to highlight that, so that the other localities, like Tanushree said, they can have a competition internally in different localities, and we can award them or give them recognition. So these positive things are also required in that. This is my input, that something should also happen at the local level and also at the administration level. At both levels, only then it can, be strong enough to jolt the rest of the people.
Thank you, Supreet ji. I had put my hand up and I don't see anyone else, so I'll share my idea. So this is also, I think it's a very low involvement, but can have a extremely solid impact. Because the lack of data is one of the issues flagged, and that's also an intervention point. This idea can be called flag air pollution. You can involve schools, colleges, and even colonies. All that is required is we need to get, let's say, if we have a total of 100 schools, colonies, colleges coming together to participate in this activity, where we provide 4 color flags to each of these units. So green, yellow, amber, and red. Why these colors? Because the air quality is measured based on, if it's a good day, then it's measured by green. If it's a okay, satisfactory, it's measured by yellow. And if it's like really bad, it's red, right? We can use the existing monitors that have been installed by Purple Air, or we can also try and, to support this, make some low-cost monitors available. All the neighborhoods have to do is, based on that day's air quality, you put up a flag at your school gate, or at your colony gate, or at your college gate. And we do that. So basically, residents are taking up the responsibility of monitoring air quality because the authorities are not doing it. At the end of 1 month or 2 months, Ludhiana's Clean Air Action Hub can actually release a report of how many number of good air days or bad air days did Ludhiana see. And it will be actually putting the authorities to shame, saying that aap log to measurement karte nahi ho, to hum hi logon ne karna shuru kar diya. So that's basically the idea. And all it will require is just a basic training to whoever wants to participate on how to use those flags, how to do the reading using a low-cost monitor, and then we can kick off this activity. Simran.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prikesh. So I had a few points, and I wanted to sort of brainstorm on this idea. So the October month is approaching, and we know the kind of air pollution is generated in October, related to firecrackers burning in around Diwali. Then there is also Dashera, wherein they burn effigies of Ravan. So can we, like, you know, at our own level, or, you know, in a localized environment, urge people, our you know, surrounding, our neighbors, to stop doing that, and, you know, not get involved in such activities, just, you know, doing that. Because I still see, even though they are banned, people burning firecrackers, people, you know, taking part in or also like burning waste. So how else can we intervene in this particular situation and control the air pollution, which, you know, we are easily going to forecast in the coming months?
Thanks, Simran. Just to add to your, I think it's a great idea. And to add to it, I also, as a kid, I used to burst crackers and demand that my parents buy. But then as I started growing up, I realized that it's a waste of money. So if my father is spending 500 rupees, I would rather make him spend that 500 rupees to buy me some books or a gift that I have been wanting. So this suggestion comes from there, is other than talking about why we should not be doing and it's bad for health, we could also maybe give out suggestions that, okay, maybe using the 500 or 1,000, 2,000 rupees that you will be just burning, you plant saplings or buy something else which is going to contribute towards cleaner air. Dharminder ji, you have your hand up.
Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for inviting me on this forum. I was invited by EcoSikh. So I have more of a query actually. I mean, for example, a citizen, let's take my case. I have an issue with the Pollution Control Board. And a practical example is there is a refinery close to our place, which is refining oil, but a very pungent, you know, smell is released by the factory. So we've been so we are in a rural area, so you know, we collected panchayat representatives of about 4 or 5 villages, and then we went and met the industrialists. That this is a problem we are facing. You are part of us. You know, it's important for factories to come around, you know, in this area, but at the same time, let's give this problem a serious thought. So we kept reminding him, you know, whenever this emission used to happen, we used to send him a message, yeah, please control this poisonous smell. And he did make improvements over a period of time. They need to put some, must be big filters or some machinery in place, which does have a capital implication. But then the gentleman did it, at least there's 50% improvement. What I'm trying to get at is, being involved in my own work, I cannot follow that regularly. So it's rather a question for even EcoSikh. Is there any forum where, like an NGO, where one can, you know, approach them that I'm having this problem, and can you, after taking some service charges, can you follow this up? Probably maybe write a RTI application, probably correspond with them about that much. Is there any forum of that sort? Because I think any individual citizen, for him to certainly, it is nice to say, and I think everyone must take out time for these common causes, but going by it, out of 10, 5 times we may do it, 5 times we may not do it. So those 5 times where we are unable to do it, is there any help mechanism available in the private sector other than going to our MLA and our councillor?
I can attempt to answer that, and maybe someone from EcoSikh can add if you feel this. So, sir, I think I'm not aware of if there is any agency who could do that on your behalf for a fee. However, the objective of setting up of the Punjab Clean Air Collective or even city action hubs is exactly that, right? We have technical experts, we have some activists, we have civil society organizations, and we have citizens who have their own jobs, are getting affected by an issue, but don't have the time and the bandwidth. Which is where, if you, I mean, maybe you can start using this forum. So if you need help with RTI, for example, we have someone who is an expert on RTI, and they can help you with that. When the group is planning some activities, maybe the intervention can be around the issue that you are highlighting, so that it puts additional pressure, and you are not the only one who is carrying the burden of holding the authorities accountable. So that will be my 2 bits. If anyone else wants to add, feel free. If not, then Prabkirat ji.
So yeah, I will continue my questions about big corporations by passing all the like pollution regulations. So we constantly make middle class people guilty about using vehicles for traveling. So yes, we all travel in cars. It is very so we always focus our energies. Many NGOs focus their energies on like making middle class people aware about the effects of pollution, but I feel that energies should also be channeled into into checking the into like देखना चाहिए कि जो big corporations हैं वो जो billionaires हैं millionaires हैं टाटा बिरला और अंबानी कितना ज्यादा pollution कर रहे हैं in comparison to the middle class people. So their impact on pollution is far higher than what middle class than the middle class people. So I feel that the government should establish committees for like regulating their pollution control levels, because even if middle class people stop their like अगर middle class people अपना सारा pollution बंद भी कर लेते हैं, like there is फिर भी जो वो जो big corporations है वो हमेशा जो दूसरे नीचे स्तर के लोग हैं उनको हमेशा एक्सप्लॉइट करती रहेगी, और ज्यादा जो रोल है पोल्यूशन बढ़ाने में वो हमेशा बिग कॉर्पोरेशंस का ही रहेगा.
Thank you, Prabkirat. I completely agree with you, and especially on the pollution front, the role that big polluters, let's say coal power plants, for example, they have been missing their deadlines to retrofit their chimney with FDG technology, which will reduce their tailpipe emissions by 38%. They have missed that deadline by 5 years. So the role that we will play here is, and we intend to play here, is to not push for individual action for reducing their emission, because that is anyways limited, but to push for individual action to put pressure on the implementing agencies. Because hota kai baar aur ho ye raha hai ki construction companies jo hai, they are not, there are some laws but they are not being followed, and when these laws are not being followed, we don't see penalties on polluters. This is where all of us come in, right? It's good to do reduce our individual emissions, and also most importantly reduce our individual exposure. But what we need to do is make the citizens aware that how bad pollution is for all of us, because a lot of people don't know. People still believe early mornings are the great time to do morning walks, but actually the morning air is the most polluted in the cities. So try and create that awareness, because what will happen is after that awareness you have an informed citizen who can take action on putting the authorities, putting pressure on the authorities. I will stop there. I think someone else wanted to add on. If there are no more ideas, then Natasha, should we move on to the next session? Maybe you can actually. Another suggestion was that I think we should also look at some external opportunities which are coming up, where we can use those or leverage those. Like, let's say, for example, there are elections coming up in Punjab. So this is the time when all the politicians will come out of their caves and will want to meet the citizens and hear about their problems. So use that effectively as a citizen to raise the issue of air pollution in your city. You could do that by organizing meetings. You could do that by asking them questions that what are you going to do, or what is your party going to do to clean up Ludhiana's air. It could be done by getting pledges signed by them, by getting statements out from them. If they're very active on Twitter, get them to tweet that my party will work towards reducing air pollution and stuff like that.
Yes, we have 2 hands up, Satnam ji and then Supreet ji.
Yes, just to
Satnam ji, you
continue.
can go next.
Satnam ji is there, then he can go first.
And then Supreet
May I
ji.
speak?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I want to congratulate to everyone. This is a wonderful presentation, which is regarding the awareness of the air pollution and the other sort of pollutions also. And the point is, which I feel actually, we often do the analysis that what is the reasons of the pollution. That is a very fine thing, and it should be happen actually. And we are doing awareness session. That's a wonderful thing. But the equally important thing to do or implement the practical solutions, equally practical solutions, implementation of equally practical solution. For example, there are some good NGOs, or we can say I must take the name of EcoSikh, and they are doing a wonderful job. And not only EcoSikh can do anything, right, or all the things. It's actually it is a responsibility of a single person or single citizen of the Ludhiana or of the any country. And this is what I observed. If I say that I'm visiting the factories and I'm observing the things and I'm criticizing, yes, no doubt there are so many flaws there which their factories are not following, industries are not following, right? There should be improvisation in the laws, implementation in the laws also. But the point is, being a person, being a citizen, being a citizen, duty starts from us. To buy a milk from a 1 kilometer shop away from my home, and I should prefer rather than I should prefer Activa or a Jupiter, I should prefer to walk or rather than cycles, right? So these are a very small but very important practices which we can adopt easily to play or to give our contribution to eliminate the air pollution or the water pollution, and etc. So that's it from my side. If I see anything wrong, so please make me correct. Thank you.
Absolutely right, Satnam ji. There's nothing wrong. As Brigesh ji said, all ideas are wonderful. We just need to stay focused on them. So what I wanted to add and what idea was coming to my mind is, since Diwali and Dussehra are approaching, the kind of approach Clean Air Collective has gathered till now is wonderful as far as the press releases are concerned, that we are regularly getting, united and giving our statements to the media that these are the things that need to be done. So as far as today's discussion is concerned, the first question was, what are the interventions as said by Tanushree, and the ramping air quality monitoring, that only one is there instead of being 3 to be installed. So let's again, create the media presence and highlight this issue, that this needs to be done by December, so that the authorities know that the people are also made aware that this needs to be done. Secondly, the Clean Air Collective can issue a set of statements highlighting the festival pollution issue like Dussehra and Diwali, and they can raise this to the DC level, that there should be complete ban on the crackers this time, and they should make it sure that this takes place as far as the citizens and selling of crackers. तो मेरे को ये लगता है कि सेलिंग ऑफ क्रैकर्स पे अगर बैन लग जाए तो क्रैकर्स बिकेंगे ही नहीं, मार्केट में अगर मिलेंगे ही नहीं तो लोग खरीदेंगे कहाँ से. सो लोग अवेयर होते हैं, पर जब वो देखते हैं ना बच्चे कि लिखा हुआ है पटाखे ही पटाखे, सड़क के ऊपर बैनर लगा है, सो दे गेट अगेन द एवरीथिंग गेट्स वॉश्ड ऑफ, और वही क्रैकर्स की इमेज उनको जगह जगह पर दिखाई जाती है. इतनी बड़ी पटाखा मार्केट जो है वो हर साल लुधियाना में लगती है. सो अगर उसको थोड़ा टारगेट किया जाए कि अगर वो चीज ही ना हो, वो दिखे ही ना, उसकी मार्केटिंग ही ना हो, तो ऑटोमेटिकली मेरे को लगता है कि अपने आप जो बच्चों की डिमांड है या लोगों की डिमांड है उसको हम टारगेट कर सकते हैं. सो दिस शुड बी strictly enforced through media also, and Clean Air Collective should also come forward in ensuring and putting it forward again to DC and other people at large. So this was from my side.
Thank you, Supreet. Natasha, maybe do you want to sum up some of the ideas that have come?
Rikesh, Jatinderji has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everybody. Actually, adding to Split, ma'am, the point is the selling of cracker is banned, should be banned, right? But one thing I want to know that can we add one thing also that Bisleri International Private Limited, they launched water bottles in the year 1950 or 68 or 70 in between, right? And currently their annual rate growth is 3,000 crore, and their next target will be around 5,000 crores. If selling of cracker should be banned, then same way on either side we don't have drinking water, and on either side we are selling water bottles. So same way there is a marketing also. So if water bottles are being sold by the big houses, and one of my friends said that big corporates are not being impacted rather than middle class. So same way here also, if selling of liquor should be banned, we should also highlight that, ma'am, in the last year, Supreet ma'am, also 2 years back, High Court, if you see the water bottles in the year 2015, there was mentioned that drinking water. Then Supreme Court and High Court, somebody from our, in this country, उन्होंने petition लगाया था court में that if this water is drinking water, then जो water हमारा जो मतलब जो हमारा पंप सबमर्सिबल में आता है या फिर हमें ट्यूबवेल में मिलता है, दैट इज नॉट ड्रिंकिंग वाटर. सो वहां पे उन्होंने ये पेटिशन लगाई थी. देन कोर्ट ने वहां पे चेंज किया था दैट इट इज नॉट ओनली ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, इट इज मिनरल वाटर आल्सो. सो इसलिए उन्होंने वहां पे चेंज कर दिया था उसको. बिस्लरी वाटर की जो प्रमोशन है ना, वहां पे उसको इन्होंने ड्रिंकिंग वाटर को मिनरल वाटर में चेंज करना पड़ा था. So this is the ban. If selling of cracker should be banned, then we should also highlight that drinking water, हमारे पास पीने के पानी की कमी है एक साइड पे, लेकिन दूसरी साइड पे वही वाटर बोतल जो बिक रही हैं सेम वे. सो दिस इज द मेन पॉइंट राइट नाउ. अगर हमारे पास अभी जैसे कोविड के टाइम पे एयर प्यूरिफायर्स आर आल्सो बीइंग मार्केटेड बाय सम ऑफ द कंपनीज. फिलिप्स कंपनी भी एयर प्यूरिफायर को मार्केटिंग कर रही है, एंड दे आर हाईलाइटिंग बिकॉज आई एम डूइंग जॉब इन फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी. And I also got call from Philips that if you are doing job in the pharmaceutical company, and we can hire you with good package for air purifier selling. So this is the way that we should everything is being connected with the selling and marketing, because corporates are very active. That same way agriculture, that's why farmers are being there from last 10 months. कॉर्पोरेट्स को कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ता, लेकिन मिडिल क्लास को इम्पैक्ट पड़ रहा है. अगर सांस लेने के लिए भी हमारे पास एयर प्यूरिफायर्स भी आज बिक रहे हैं, इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट ओनली. सो दिस इज द मेन पॉइंट दैट इफ सेलिंग ऑफ क्रैकर शुड बी बैंड, सेम वे वी शुड हाईलाइट, वी शुड हैव सम एक्शन प्लान फॉर ड्रिंकिंग वाटर आल्सो एंड फॉर एयर प्यूरिफायर्स आल्सो. हमारे पास सांस लेने के लिए हवा नहीं है एयर प्यूरिफायर, लेकिन एयर प्यूरिफायर्स जो है वो बिक रहे हैं. दिस इज द मेन माय रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ माय कलीग्स present over there.
Thank you, Jatinder ji. Supreet ji, over to you.
Haji, anyone wants to share more ideas? It's my duty to ask once before we wrap up.
If not, then maybe Natasha can summarize.
Yes. So it's been wonderful. Time का पता ही नहीं चला कितना टाइम हो गया हमको बातें करते, because the issue is so vital and so important and it touches all of us so closely. So Natasha ji, over to you for summarizing the discussion.
So, I mean, just taking the points that have last been mentioned there. I mean, I think we're all the good thing about this conversation has been that there's a lot of passion, including a little bit of irritation and frustration. But that only goes to show that there will be work done by this group, which is what we hope for. There are a few points that were shared that I'd like to reiterate, just as in terms of things that we should maybe hopefully do immediately. One was that, to demand more air quality monitors, because this is something that everybody has sort of said the data is unavailable, it's not made public. The transparency on data is something that a lot of people have said that that's also extremely important, even if there is the grievance cell, like Tanushree had pointed out right in the beginning, some of the ideas that were shared, even post that, like the, taking photographs of something that's like a garbage burning issue. If the grievance cell portal can be attached to those kinds of ideas, then the impact will be far greater. I'll also actually like to draw the attention back to the RTI tool, because all the issues like with small industries and like the most recent the packaged water bottle issue that was raised, if we were to file RTIs and get the kind of information that we are that we can use, then this can be made publicly available in terms of media articles and things like that. That's one step forward in making more people aware and having more people involved in getting what we actually rightfully deserve, which is clean air. The few ideas that have come up in terms of the local competition that was mentioned by Supreetji and Tanushree, that seems like an idea that has actually often come up in our meetings, and I think there is value in it. So having ward level and as an actual cooperator sort of go head to head and prove who's better, that would be something that we could look at. Vikesh also mentioned that we should leverage the fact that we do have elections coming up in Punjab, and to get the parties to actually acknowledge the problem as something that is affecting the people of Punjab, not only during a particular season, but across the year. That's something that we hope to be able to do as well. The last 2 points that came up were the idea of getting the likes of RWAs involved, which we hope to do with some of the members here, and to expand the stakeholder base to actually get more citizens from across more industries involved, because that's the only way we're going to actually win this fight. So the way forward, I think, if I can speak from Asar's side as well as EcoSikh, is we're hoping to put together a set of actions that we'll do in the next 2 or 3 months leading up to the elections. And we will present it to you in a manner of another meeting or maybe emails. Hopefully, if we can have some of you involved, then we can take the entire thing forward. Vikesh, can you add, or Supreetji, if you want?
Yeah, I'd like to add.
Wanted to add a small idea, which is the flag air pollution idea also has a potential, which is a citizens-led campaign to demand for monitors that have been already promised, like Agneshji said. So that's also something which we can include in the plan. That's all. Supreetji, over to you.
Yeah, the idea also came up with the silent protests with a placard. So that's also very effective, and we can, get together a bunch of citizens in Ludhiana and we can target that. For crackers, it's very effective. At marketplaces also it can be done, and some sort of talk can also be initiated with children and other people, and it can be recorded and put it on different media platforms. So that can be also effective at the local level. So on the whole, the ideas are wonderful. And Natasha, I just wanted to share that since we have a WhatsApp group already, which is quite active, and whatever thoughts and bullet points we decide on and the strategy that we are going to decide in the coming months, we can always share it over there. And if anyone wants to add some inputs over there, they are most welcome to do it. We have such a wonderful people already on board with our Clean Air Collective. So let's just start jotting down the points and converting them into actions so that we are visible and we are able to create an impact on the community at large.
Yes, Supreetji, I actually forgot about the WhatsApp group, but then that's a efficient way.
So, Gurpreet, over to you. Would you like to add something?
I just wanted to share with everyone that हम जब भी कुछ काम करें, we just need to raise a voice. Start करें. सबके पास ideas होते हैं, सब कोई situation के through जा रहे होते हैं कि ये गलत हो रहा है या कुछ भी. I would request everyone in the group कि let's stand together. जब भी कोई issue हो, do write us in the group. We'll help you connecting to someone या किसी को letter लिखना है या commissioner तक जाना है कुछ भी. As a collective, we'll be there. We'll be helping you out also, and you can tell us suggestions there also कि ये चीज आ रही है, we want your help or we want your support, the support of the collective, that we should write a letter to them. या हमें crackers जैसे अब points आए या कुछ भी अगर किसी ने जाना है किसी अपनी letter लेके किसी के पास या कुछ भी, we'll be there and आप हमारी support ले सकते हो, हम आगे पूछ सकते हैं सबसे, so that at the end हम कुछ collectively कर पाए.
Yes, thank you, Gurpreet. So with these words, I thank everyone who have taken out their time. Today was holiday, and but they made it sure that to attend our discussion. And we are hopeful that in future, आप सब लोग हमारा ऐसे ही साथ देते रहेंगे. और इस क्लीन एयर कलेक्टिव का जो हमने टारगेट्स रखेंगे, जो एक्शन प्लान्स बनाएंगे, ऑलरेडी मेरे को चैट में दिख रहा है कि गगनीश जी ने लिखा है कि आई एम फ्रॉम CI, आई विल हेल्प यू इन गेटिंग द राइट पर्सन टू अप्रोच. सो दैट इज व्हाट एक्चुअली वी नीड फ्रॉम एवरीवन, कि जो हमारा नेटवर्क सबका है हम उसको यूज करके और इस एयर पोल्यूशन की प्रॉब्लम की जो हमने रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ली है कि इसको सबसे पहले स्टेप में हमने लोगों को अवेयर करना है और एक्शंस को इंश्योर करना है, उस सब में आप सबकी हेल्प जो है वो मिलेगी. एंड आई एम वेरी होपफुल एंड कॉन्फिडेंट कि आने वाले टाइम में ये जो क्लीन एयर कलेक्टिव का हमारा हब बना है वो बहुत ही लोगों को हिलाने वाला है और उनको अवेयर करने वाला है और अथॉरिटीज को भी हिलाने वाला है, ताकि वो कुछ ना कुछ एक्शन जो है करें और हम लुधियाना को पोल्यूशन फ्री बनाने में जो है वो सक्सेसफुल हो सके. इट्स अ टफ रोड, आई नो, इट्स अ वेरी वेरी टफ path that we have taken, but it is very very important and urgent and needs to be addressed. So with these words, thank you everyone, and over to Vigesh ji.
Thank you, ma'am. You've summed it up correctly, so I don't have anything to add. Like Natasha said, you brought your best, brilliant, crazy ideas on the table today. So we will put it all together as part of a plan, like for the next 3-4 months, and then we will share that with all of you. And after that, now we will get into the implementation mode. So abhi meetings काफी हो गई, काफी अच्छे ideas है. Let's try and start bringing those ideas to life in Ludhiana. Thank you all and have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye everyone.
Natasha ji, you can end the session. Thank you.